Good morning. Welcome back to Morning Qi Gong. This is the Levi Tai Chi School. I am Lao Shi Paul Nettles, and today, of course, is Sunday. It is November 15th, and Sunday means this is our Sunday Foundations class. I will also note that it is very cold out here. I think our front is coming through. I, for one, am thankful, waiting for it, looking forward to it with great enthusiasm. Our Sunday Foundation class is a little different from the deep dive. The deep dive was aimed a little more at advanced practitioners. The foundation class is aimed at beginners, or people who are advanced persons, advanced practitioners who want to go back and look at the basics again and maybe pick up something they missed last time. Maybe one little fine tuning on the form that we didn't really discuss in the advanced class, assuming you knew it already. So what I want you to do today as we proceed through the form, and we probably won't get to the whole form just yet. We're doing a lot of talking still about specifics, about the little nuances of the form, and the form is very nuanced for being so simple. But I want you to keep in mind today what we often call flow in class. Flow is a very obvious word. It's a very straightforward thing. You've seen rivers flow. You've seen the easy movement of something. I think we described as flowing hair, flowing horse's tail, so on and so forth. The same basic applies to Qi Gong. You want to move through the form with a uniform speed, and that speed won't be very fast. We're going to move slowly. We're going to move rhythmically, but we're not going to speed up and slow down through the form in different parts of the form. And there are several bits, and I'll try to call those out as we get to them as we go on through our Sundays. There are several bits that seem to lend themselves to moments where we speed up too much or slow down too much. And we can harness that very easily. Just be mindful of how we move and how fast we move, and keep that pace nice and even all the way through. What you will find, especially as you continue to practice and practice deeply, moments when the form does not call for fast movement and you inject a fast movement into the form, you will quickly find yourself speeding up if you aren't very, very careful. The body is very, very good at picking up very subtle clues from itself as to how to behave, and they can often be misdirecting or incorrect entirely. I love using the example of making a fist. If you take your hand and close it and squeeze just a little bit, you haven't got to pierce your palm with your fingernails, but if you make a good hard fist and just hold it for a few minutes. Now you can do this watching TV, you can do this driving the car, you can do this anywhere. If you make a fist and hold without thinking about it, before too long your forearm tightens up harder, then your bicep tightens up and you might draw in some. That's my shoulders already came up. You start getting into a protective mode. Protect the neck. Blood will begin to draw into the center of the body to protect bleeding out from the extremities in case of damage. Your adrenaline will come up. Your breathing will shallow out and grow faster. And all of a sudden, you're in full fight mode because you did that. One fist. It's a very interesting feature of the body that these things can happen. But by the same token, breathing calmly, moving slowly, will counter-effect that. Will give you the same effect, different direction. Your body will read that as being very, very calm, very, very safe. So the blood flows outward. The capillaries open up. The tiniest little blood vessels in your fingertips, in your face, in your nose, your cheeks will open up. Your breathing slows, your heart rate slows, your adrenaline rolls way, way back. It isn't needed. your body knows what's going on, or it thinks it does, by what you're doing on the outside, by how it thinks you're reacting to the environment, whether you're afraid of it or you're calmed by it or calm in it. So these fast movements are very counterproductive to what we're doing here, to being mindful, to being calm, to being relaxed, until the very end of the form. We want to begin burning that energy. We want to give ourselves just a very small dose of very controlled adrenaline. We're taking a very specific small amount and say we're going to use that much and no more, and we're going to go forth and do things. So mind your pace, mind your speed, mind the moments when your hands can suddenly move quickly, unintentionally certainly, but they can do so because you may feel you need to, your body may think it needs to, it may feel good. Be very mindful of that. Move carefully, move slowly. So let's begin with our first sow. Remember, torso stays nice and straight. Don't drag yourself upright. Simply hold yourself vertically, comfortably. All right. Find my spot back here. All right. Feet together. Quick body scan. Shoulders are relaxed. Hands are hanging free. I like to rest my hands on my thighs or just in front of them. You don't have to. Feet are together. Importantly, knees are bent. We're not lock-kneed right now, nor should we be. Comfortable. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. Sink straight down to your comfort level. Clap. Straighten as you breathe in. Head goes back. Roll the hands, breathe out. Head comes forward. All the way down. Into the nose, out to the mouth. Hands come to rest. Knees are still a little bit bent. Our feet are together comfortably. Shoulders are down again. Now if you notice, that's an easy spot for that speed to come up. Right about there. Now, you don't need to clap. A little gentle pat, and then be very wary right there. That movement makes you want to speed up, move quickly, fast. So be careful with the clap, and then be careful as you open from there. So when you clap, be very mindful that you're moving slowly through that open motion. All right, lifting the heavens. Step out shoulder width. I'm going to recenter. All right. Remember, we're going to breathe in just to our collarbones. So, in, lungs fill, knees are still bent, back is straight, palms roll, head goes back, breathe out, stretch, breathe in, and out. Breathe in, out. Notice I'm not pausing up here. I stretch to my height and I turn again. Same with the bottom. Breathe out. In. Out. That's a spot where you can go quickly unintentionally. Roll the hands slowly. Don't worry about getting your time for that turn. We can develop a very bad habit of doing this. We'll breathe out, and we'll feel we have to get going again. So we whip around and back up. Combat that when you can. Come to rest. I'm going to take one step back to our center very carefully. Now if you watch that, you'll notice when I step either into or out of a posture, there's a couple things going on. A lot of it is a weight shift. So if I'm going to step out left, my left for instance, I'm going to shift a little bit to the right, not noticeably. I'm not doing these great big giant turns back and forth, but I am shifting my weight onto my right leg. Right now my left is just kind of lying there, hanging off my hips. My right leg is holding my entire mass up. My center of mass is a little more over here than right there. It's off to my right, resting on that leg, so that I can just simply lift. Notice I'm just kind of floating out here. I drop my knee a little bit and put that foot down, and then I shift onto it. It's a simple thing, but it does a lot for your balance and for your speed, rather than, you notice that unintentional flop. When you fall into a position, everything kind of jiggles into place, and you're down. When you step mindfully, it's a very controlled, mindful movement, a very careful movement. Same when you step back. Weight shifts, then you lift and step back in and recenter. Notice I didn't move about that much. I think you probably barely saw me move on the camera there. It's a very subtle thing. It comes with practice, of course. All right, wise owl gazes backward. Same step out, so I'm going to get a little off center so you can see it as I step into frame. So, shift, lift, place, shift. I'm double weighted again. My center of mass is straight down my line of symmetry here, my bilateral symmetry. I'm comfortable. Hands behind the back. I'm resting in my lower back with my hands, letting gravity take effect. I'm comfortable. Knees are bent. Breathe in. Gentle twist. Feet stay flat. And out. In. And out. Let me stress, it's important the feet stay flat and grounded. Breathe in. body wants to force that. Your body's going to want to roll that left heel up so you can get way, way, way around. That's not what you're looking for. You're not trying to get way, way, way around. You're trying to get as far as your joints will allow you as you stretch them, as you limber them out. Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe out. Come to rest at your center. Again, shoulders are relaxed. Hands are simply hanging off the shoulders. Knees are still bent. Relax. Shift our weight. Lift. Step. Shift. Recenter. And sow. Deep breath in. Now, I will mention this. If you've watched me for more than a class or two, you've seen me sow more than a few times, and you've seen me do that. I come very open as I come down. Now, that is extraneous movement. It's not really required, and it might be a little distracting, except that I am very mindful about not making it a sudden movement, making it a great big giant move. I don't want to go, you know, it's not a big flowery thing. It's still a very controlled movement, and it's not a very big movement. By the same token, my yoga people, we mentioned before, will sow, and as they breathe out, they will turn their hands palm forward, which I think is kind of a neat little thing. Again, it doesn't really affect the basic form. You're not making some grand flowery jeté kind of a gesture thing. You're simply relaxing. As long as you're relaxing and moving slowly and are comfortable, by all means go for it. So when I do that little open, it's not bothering me. I'm not being wound up by it. The adrenaline's not flowing because I'm moving suddenly. I'm not. I'm moving very carefully and mindfully still. It's always important to learn the rules first, then you can break them. When you know the rules, you know what is safe to break. If I were making a fast movement, that would be a foul. Because I'm moving slow, it's still within the basic rules of the form. So, when you see me do that, don't fret. I'm accustomed to it. It's mostly a habit now. And it doesn't do anything to counter effect my calm that I've been building. All right, so moving forward, third posture, draw bow. We may have to stop with that one because it's going to be a complicated one. Draw bow is the first of the very physical exercises in the form. The first two postures are our warm-up. Excuse me. Draw bow is very, very active. It's very like Tai Chi. It's a lot of center of mass movement, especially as you get used to it, get stronger and get deeper in your posture. So there's a lot going on. We're going to unpack it slowly. And this is the one that trips up a lot of beginners, especially because there's so much going on. We've been doing these nice, easy, simple, repetitive movements, and now we're going way out to the sides and moving, and it's a lot going on. So we'll go through it slowly, and we'll practice a little bit together. So this is the first time we're using horse stance also, which is interesting. I'm not going too far this time. Usually I go way back so you can see the extension of my hands, but I can't shout to the camera from way back there. So for starters, that same shift happens when we step shoulder width. We're just going a little wider this time. We're going to shift to our right, lift, give yourself a good step out, at least shoulder width, foot comes down, shift way onto that other leg now. We're way onto our left now, which frees our right leg up to lift and step. That gives us 2 shoulder widths or more. Now, don't go crazy with this, especially at first, because you can get way out into your discomfort zones and ruin the whole thing. So you don't need to be super, super wide. You do want to be wide. If you're comfortable with it and strong, sink a bit, like you're riding a horse. You're resting on a saddle, and your legs are wrapped around his barrel or her barrel. Nice and comfortable. As you get stronger, do this down lower. That comes with time and is not an important part of the form. The mindfulness is the important part of the form, not the physicality of it. All right, so hands are loose, forearms tucked in. Make very loose fists. Again, don't clench. We talked about that this morning. Nice, loose fist. Okay? Relax. You don't need to be rigid. I'm not parallel here. I'm just kind of relaxed. I'm actually kind of tipped forward a little bit. I'm comfortable. My shoulders are dropped. My elbows are tensed to hold my forearms up, and that's about it. I'm very comfortable. All right. Right hand is going to reach out, full extension, as my hands open. I'm going to breathe in, and I'm going to make a half circle around the front of me. I'm going to turn my hips just a little bit, not a great deal, so the twist comes from torso and hips. I'm going to breathe in, 1/2 turn. Now, watch my right foot. I'm going to lift and turn it out. My foot is pointed at a diagonal now to let my knee bend. When we breathe out, left hand comes up and forward to hold our bow. We draw the string back with our right, and we draw our torso to the right. That's the important thing. The torso comes with you as you go right. Now, notice, nice straight line all the way across. Right across the front of me. I'm not back here. I'm not up here or back here. I've got a nice long straight line right across the front of me, as if I had drawn a bowstring across my front. If I pull backwards, it's going to hit me in the face when I let go of it. So I'm out in front, nice nice and straight. My weight is way over here on my right knee, and my foot is turned out so my knee can bend forward and not be crushed outwards in a direction it doesn't want to go naturally. All right, lungs are empty. Our right forearm tucks in. I'm going to open that left hand. We're going to breathe in, come around. Right hand comes up and forward. Our right foot turns in. Our left foot turns out. And we breathe out as we draw back and shift. Now, another vitally important thing I want you to watch very carefully and be very mindful with yourself. The body does a lot of stuff with this posture it shouldn't because of comfort. Your body wants to do that so you feel like you're going further. Again, this isn't about performance. It's about simply moving nice and slow and careful and controlled. So I am dropping this knee so that my body comes down and can shift further to the left. I'm not trying to get hyperextended. We don't want to hyperextend. We don't need to. So be very careful that your torso stays straight and you get a good stretch in that tendon inside your thigh on the leg going forward. The leg is empty now. It's not holding up your weight. Now, forearm tucks in, hand opens, breathe in, left hand up and forward, left foot turns in, right foot turns out, breathe out. Notice no leaning, no tipping. It takes a lot of practice to isolate this and this as one piece. That's a very Tai Chi thing. In Tai Chi, the entire torso rides on the hips. In Tai Chi, you don't see people doing things like stars fall to earth where you roll forward. Everything is resting right there on that pelvic girdle, on that pelvic cradle. Everything rests. You rest in your hips. And as you move, just your hips move. You don't do that. Everything comes through here. So when you draw that string back, if you imagine being attached here to your hip and you draw, think of drawing a curtain attached to your hip where your hip is pulled to the side and then pulled back again. It takes practice. It takes time. But it's a marvelous feeling, and it's very, very good for your balance. And it's very, very good for your strength. Because you're training your body to move just one thing. This. This is just riding. It's along for the ride. Now, as you get better at draw bow, be very aware your body, again, wants to do that. Going side to side. So when you come around, it wants to up and down. Do a hobby horse thing. Be very careful that as you shift side to side, you stay very flat. Again, that takes practice. But if you tell yourself, I need to move straight, you can feel your height and you simply adjust accordingly. Now, when you reach the end and you stretch, you will drop a little bit. That's okay. I'm not worried about a little up and a flat and a down. What I'm worried about is up and down. So when you shift, and you get to the end and you sink a little, that's okay. There's no problem there. As long as you aren't doing that. We don't need to pop up and pop down. We need to shift nice and flat. And again, nice and fluid. We're going to flow through this. We're going to move with very gentle ease. To get back to our center, again, same thing. We're going to shift way over. We're going to step and step. Now, that was a little fast. I was a little wide. I tend to push myself. But the same weight shifting applies to get you back to your center. One more, Sal. Deep breath. Watch your speed. Do stars fall to earth real quick, and then we'll wrap it up in the morning. How about? So stars fall to earth, same step out, shift, step, shift. Now stars fall to earth looks like touch your toes, and it's not. Very important differences here. For one, we're not trying to get our hands on the ground. We're not trying to grab our toes. We're trying to let our spine relax and roll forward gracefully and gently and stretch and limber. Yes, it'll pull your tendons. Certainly it'll strengthen them and loosen them nicely for you. It'll loosen your spinal tendons, all those things that hold you upright. It'll give you a nice limberness. It's not about forcing yourself forward. Again, the physical is not the key here. The physical is secondary. So, the other thing with this posture, the main thing, is that we're going to breathe in from down there in a squat all the way to here, preferably in one breath. Now, again, that comes with time. You very likely won't start that off the first day. You're not going to get one breath all the way up. That's a long, long, long breath. Practice and practice and practice develops the lungs, gives you the capacity, and then you can breathe one breath all the way up. So if it takes 2, if it takes 3, then so be it. It's not going to hurt a thing as long as you continue your flow. Breathe slowly and calmly. So if you breathe in and then out and then in and out, in and out until you're vertical, that's fine. You don't want to be Don't try to speed through it. Don't try to get your lungs full again because you feel like you have to have full lungs. Keep a nice, slow, thorough pace all the way through. One continuous, if it takes 5 beats to fill your lungs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it should take 5 to empty them, and 5 to fill them again, and 5 to empty them. You don't want to do 4, 3, 4, 3, or any other variation. Make sure you're staying smooth all the way through until you develop to the point that you can do it in one count of whatever, 8, 10, 12, whatever it takes to get to the top. Keep that pace. Keep that nice, slow, relaxed movement. Okay? Now, this is also a back piece. Be aware of your spine. Be aware if you have spinal injuries, if you have spinal weakness, if you just don't like bending your spine too much. Be aware. We're doing a lot of spine movement and a lot of knee movement. So be wary of that as you go through the postures. The posture. So shoulder width. Like lifting the heavens, we're going to cup and breathe in, but like I say, this time, one breath all the way up. So, knees bent, hands cupped gently, breathe in, hands roll, head goes back, good stretch. Now, this is the only time you'll hear me say this. Listen good. Lock your knees briefly. This lets us bend from the waist. We're going to crease forward right here. So we're going to breathe out, lock knee, roll forward. Now, notice my head is rolled forward too. I'm not trying to do this. That's painful. Let your head come forward as well. All right, that's about as far as I can get right now. I'm still a little stiff, so that's it for me. That's my comfort level right there. Boom, my weight is hanging off my waist. My torso is pulling my center of mass forward. My body is learning to balance backwards. It's learning to kind of hold itself in position. Be very careful as you do that you don't back up through here. Try to keep your legs fairly straight. Let your body adjust, keeping your feet rooted and your legs straight, so when you roll forward, you're holding yourself. You're learning that balance. So, forward. Now, we're going to bend our knees and drop our hips straight down. So, hands roll, we come straight down. Notice my body's still relaxed coming forward. I'm not trying to push down further as I come down. I just want to roll forward, scoop near the ground, straighten the knees first as you breathe in, and then straighten your back. And keep breathing in. And breathe in and lift all the way up. Again, lock your knees very briefly. Breathe out. Roll forward. Relaxed. Roll the hands. Knees bend, hips drop straight down. Scoop. Breathe in, knees first, then the back. Come on back up. just going to breathe in until we're vertical again, until we're straight. So right there, we just roll our hands and breathe out. Back to our center. Weight shifts. Foot comes in. Weight shifts. Yes, I'm making that very obvious so you can see it. It shouldn't be that obvious when you're doing it yourself. And south. Notice the little flourish? I wasn't thinking about it, I felt it pop out just a moment there as I came down. So again, as long as it's not interfering with the slow, calm movement of your body, it's fine. And I'm going to call it here. It's 40 minutes in. There's a rain cloud right there. I can feel the rain coming. It's about to start pouring down rain here. So I'm going to pop inside before it rains. But thank you for joining me. We're going to keep going every Sunday. We'll keep pushing through. We'll get postures 5, let's see, we did 3 and 4 today. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Hopefully in the next week or two we'll finish up and we'll keep giving you the foundation pieces to this as we go forward. But if you are enjoying this, tell somebody. Let somebody know. This is a good time to learn. On Sundays, great time to learn. We're going to really dig into the specifics of these things. Remember, Tuesday, no class. I have to be in grand jury duty on Tuesday, and it's pretty early in the morning and will last all day long, unfortunately, so I will not be able to be here to teach Tuesday. Monday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, I will be here ready to go with you. We'll do the form in its entirety, straight through at a more advanced level. And of course, you can always come back and join me on Sundays for the foundation work. And you can also, if you really want to, go back to the beginning of, or the end of March, the beginning of the COVID pandemic. That's when we began the videos. That's when there's more beginner stuff. So there's some good resources there too. So it's getting chilly. I'm fixing to pop inside. I hope you have a marvelous day. I hope it doesn't get too cold there. I hope you enjoy yourself today. Use this energy you've developed for a good cause, a good use. And thank you as always for being here. It means a lot. Until I see you tomorrow, stay safe.